Hey, hope everybody's having a great Tuesday morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with RDAP Dan. So hope you guys are doing well here. This morning, no specific content, just want to talk to everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. I know many of you are facing some struggles and some adversity, and I thought maybe a little upbeat video in the morning to get everybody going can maybe help you get on the right foot, get your day off to the right start, and tackle some of those obstacles that you might have. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our channel, like, subscribe, share, all of that fun stuff. Turn on your notifications if you want to get notified when we go live. And yeah, we try to go live. I try to go live. I say we, like there's a whole crew behind me or something. It's RDAP Dan and team. When it comes to the YouTube videos, it's pretty much just me. But yeah, today we're going to talk about some upbeat activities that you guys can be doing as you get ready for probably what seems like the biggest struggle you may have ever had. Many of you are prepping to go into the federal prison system, and you might not feel like anybody out there understands. Well, that might be the case for a lot of you. And just putting some notes in here. There we go. We'll turn that one off. So when you're getting ready to go to prison, or when you're getting ready after you got indicted, or you're in pre-indictment, or you're waiting for charges, or maybe you've already been sentenced and you're still out on pretrial waiting and waiting and waiting, it can really seem like forever. I spoke to a few people yesterday. They weren't even they ended up turning into consultations, but they were just people that called randomly. And I had some downtime yesterday. So usually if I'm swamped, it's hard to answer those calls. I'll kind of send them a link and have them book a consultation. But yesterday I hopped on a couple of the calls, and you can just really hear the anxiety and the fear in individuals' voices, because they're kind of stuck. They don't know what to do next. Maybe they feel like they're not getting enough information from their attorneys. And that's probably the number one common thing we hear is, my attorney wasn't very good, or my attorney didn't know what they were doing. I feel like my attorney was working for the government. We hear the same attorney complaints, which leads me to believe that it's not so much that your attorneys are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think the expectations are kind of off-putting a little bit. The average attorneys just don't deal with a lot of the questions that you have. It's more of your case, your guideline range, your losses, the drug amounts, the severity of your crime, past crimes, things of that nature. That's kind of where the attorneys focus to get your plea agreement, get you in, you plead guilty. And in their mind, there's really not much more to be done. They don't understand the concepts of RDAP and all that stuff. So that's what you come over here to chat up with RDAP Dan for, is to discuss what you can be doing now. And man, half the battle is staying positive, believe it or not. Staying positive and not getting stuck in awfulizing statements and negative, and constantly finding yourself thinking of reasons why this isn't fair, or the government's overreaching. Somebody told on me. There's all of these negative condensations that we get stuck in that'll really kind of stop us in our tracks, and we're not able to move forward. There's so much that we can be doing right now, that you can be doing right now, and getting off on the right foot, that might have a lot to do with it. So if you haven't done so, grab yourself a cup of coffee and join me for today's video. At the end of this video, we have something. We're going to be sharing some uplifting video content from other creators, like the DODO. If you haven't checked out the DODO on YouTube or on Facebook, or they're probably on everywhere, my video will probably get strike marked because I'm going to be sharing other content. So this video definitely won't be monetized, but I don't care. As you guys know, I don't make YouTube videos to get rich and famous on YouTube. I just want to be famous on YouTube. We don't need the richness. No, we do. But my money doesn't come from YouTube. I wish it did. But anyway, the point is I can put up some other content, and the video probably won't get monetized, but you get some fun content. So the DODO is like an animal channel that's really, positive, upbeat stuff where animals get saved, and somebody cute animals, things like that. Who doesn't like cute little kittens? So I found a really cool video on the DODO, which we're going to share as we go out of this morning's video. So you got to stay tuned. It's probably 20-30 minute video at tops, and then we'll play you the DODO. Who has a cup of coffee right now? Raise your hand. And by raise your hand, that means just post a comment in the over here in the live chat. Also, if you're interested, if RDAP is something that you're really interested in and you want a consultation for RDAP specifically, you want to find out like if you can qualify, maybe you didn't have enough information in your pre-sentence report and you're freaking out or your attorney told you not to mention it. We have a consultation for RDAP specifically that you can go ahead and click on the link that I just dropped in the live chat, and that can get you in there. So if anybody wants to chime in with something that they might be struggling with, now would be a great time and we can kind of chat about it. But I've noticed that when I went through my own phase getting ready to go to federal prison, and if you don't know, if this is your first time to my channel, I went to federal prison. I was sentenced to 42 months, ended up serving 13 months due to good time, RDAP, halfway house. I did 13 months in prison, 11 months in a federal halfway house, and then a portion of that was on home confinement, blah, blah, blah. Who cares, Dan? We've heard your story a million times. But I didn't have access to the First Step Act because it didn't exist. And First Step Act is something that's amazing for so many of you. Spoke to a lady yesterday. I think her sentence was, it was either 73 or 87 months, something along those lines. And if everything plays out in a situation like that, let's grab the handy dandy calculator. I think that's like Blue's Clues, handy dandy notebook. So I got my old school calculator right here. So let's do some math here. We'll take somebody who's got a 60-month sentence. 60 months, 5 years, sounds like a long time. It's a effing car loan. 5-year sentence, right? So you just wanted 60 months times 0.85. Reason why I did times 0.85 is you serve 85% of your time in federal prison, or you're going to give 85% of your time to the feds. So on a 60-month sentence, that drops you down to 51 months. Now, let's say you qualify for RDAP and you're gonna qualify for the full year off. So then off of that 51, you want to knock off another 12. That brings you to 39 months. Now, with First Step Act, if you're programming and you're getting your earned time credits, you can knock another year off of that. What? That is a raise your cup of coffee statement. Yes, sir, ma'am. He, her, they, them, everybody included. Politically correct, incorrect? I don't know. But I'm going to drink some coffee now. So another year off of that. So just because I sidetracked there. So we got 60 months times 0.85 for your good time, 51 minus 12 months for RDAP brings us to 39. First Step Act. Let's knock another year off for the First Step Act, guys. Minus 12. What? That brings you to 27 months. Now what happens? Halfway house, right? So halfway house, you could technically get up to another year of halfway house. Minus 12 more. What? 15 months on a 60-month sentence? Dan, you must have drank too much of the prison Kool-Aid. Nope. Those are facts, guys. Those are facts. Now, what's not a fact is somebody's going to tell you, hire me and I guarantee you'll get all of these benefits. That's not a fact. That's a, what do we call them? Snake oil salesman that's selling you a bill of goods. That's, South Florida sales. The days are sunny and the people are shady, which is why I left South Florida. I'm no longer in South Florida. I am still in Florida. I traveled 5 minutes north to Melbourne. Melbourne's pretty cool. I've been here about a week, and if you follow me on Facebook and things like that, we post some pictures of the backyard and the cats and the dogs and the squirrels and the birds. I spend half my day working and the other half in the backyard throwing peanuts at squirrels because the squirrels really like the peanuts. And yeah, it's kind of fun. We're going to try to name some of the squirrels. And we got some blue jays and some red robins and some little hummingbirds out there. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, so 15 months potentially on a 60-month sentence. That just sounds like, if that doesn't make you feel a little bit better, a little bit more optimistic about the foreshadowing of what's coming down your pipeline. And this is, why didn't my attorney tell me this? Because it's not something, a lot of this stuff happens after you go in. You still might get a sentence of 60 months and your attorney's going to tell you, well, there's programs, this and that. They just don't, it's too much. And really, they don't need to know it. It's not like there's a million attorneys out there studying this stuff where one attorney is going to know this, another attorney is not. I will tell you, yesterday, I got a call from a really cool attorney. I'm actually trying to get him to come on and do a video with me. He reached out and he had some questions about his client going to what custody level, like a camp, a low, a medium. And he wasn't really sure because his client was going to be sentenced to, I think, like 120 something months. And, many of you know, or you don't know, in order to go to a camp, one of the qualifications or parameters is you have to have less than 10 years to go to a camp for men. Now, that's the caveat to that. On a good note is you could be sentenced to more than 10 years. It's really after any time served and minus your good time. If your release date is 10 years or under from the time that you go in, you can go to a camp. Now, there are some other caveats that don't work to your advantage. Like if you have certain charges, if you have like a gang member leadership role, violence, sex offense charges, if you have an open case that's still pending, like a detainer, something like that, that can prevent you from going to a camp as well. You get a manager variable, bump up your custody level, and you go to a low. But no fear, lows are not that bad, guys. I did my time at a low, Coleman Federal Prison in Ocala, Florida, which I'm closer to that now. Maybe I'm just gravitating back to Coleman. I'm going from Washington to Palm Beach County to Melbourne. Who knows? Maybe next stop will be Coleman. No, I'm not going to go back to Coleman unless it's to talk and speak or go visit or go do a drive-by and get the chills up and down my spine. But no, my federal experience, as I've told most of you that have either spoken to me on phone or you've listened to on here, most of my experience in federal prison was overwhelmingly positive. Dan, how did you have a positive time in prison? It was because first off, I really refocused and recentered and recalibrated my mindset to realize that I'm here. There's nothing I can do about it. I guess I could jump the fence and go out of there or have a helicopter swoop down like El Chapo and off I go. But that probably wouldn't end well in the long run. So I made the best of my time that I could, and I chose to do things, of course, exercise. Everybody, you got to be realistic with the exercise in prison. It's great to exercise in prison, but the level that you can maintain exercising in prison, you're probably not going to have that same type of time to do it in the free world, but you still want to get your exercise in for sure. But mental health, I think, is just as important. And mental health, I think there's a misunderstanding on mental health. When we hear mental health, we think, well, I have no issues with mental health. Different levels of mental health, I imagine, affect different people. And I'm not a mental health counselor or professional. I'm just a mental health guru. I love anything around mental health. I love anything that can stimulate my mind into a positive mindset. And what I've noticed is completing tasks is probably one of the biggest stimulants for me that creates the domino effect where you knock over the first positive domino and then it hits the second positive domino and third, fourth, so on and so on. And before you know it, you've gone through the alphabet of positive domino effect. That's what we should call that. The domino, positive alphabet, positive domino effect. We'll come up with something clever. But the point is, if you wake up and you're not feeling super great, maybe you had a late night, maybe you put one too many back, who knows? Maybe you're out partying, maybe you're fighting with your girlfriend, maybe your kids peed the bed all night and are throwing up, and maybe you've got a dog that's not broken in yet and he's crating and he's crying and you're like, fuck, I can't sleep, I'm so tired. Well, when you get up, no matter what, when you get up, force yourself to do something positive. Maybe start with make the bed. What? Making the bed? That's no fun. But it does create a stimulating effect in your brain that gives you a sense of completion. This is why when little kids are little and they color inside the line, we go, oh, good job, Timmy, you colored inside the line. Oh, Timmy, this picture is beautiful. I don't know what the fuck it is. I think it's just a bunch of crayons melted together. I don't know what Timmy drew, but we tell Timmy it's beautiful because he tried to put something in there and we give him some affirmation behind it, and it creates the little mojo spinning in his mind. And he's like, ooh, I like doing this. And then, you can work on it. Hey, Timmy, next time, try this. Next time, try this. Well, get up tomorrow morning, make your bed. Maybe before you go to bed, put some dishes away. Maybe make your meal at night and get it ready for the morning. So it saves time. Some of you have super time crunched schedules where you don't have a lot of free time in between. You got to get up, got to get ready, you got to get the kids ready, you got to go to work. It doesn't leave a lot of you time. So finding the you time and all of the chaos is one of the key ingredients to centering your mindset. And that might mean making some adjustments, doing some uncomfortable things that create comfort when you kind of fight through the thickness in the trenches. So one of the things I would say, I like to go out and sit on my patio every morning and listen to the birds, drink my coffee, water. I've got some scallions, I've got some parsley growing, and I've got oregano, and I've got all these little spices that I like to put in my food, because believe it or not, I'm not just an RDAPper talking on YouTube. I also like to cook, and cooking is a huge passion and comfort of mine. So going out and having my little garden in the morning and watering it, if I don't get up early enough, like this morning, I knew I was doing this video, but I still wanted to do that because it gets my energy going right. So I snuck out of bed. I went outside, made my coffee. Sun hasn't come up yet. It's still kind of dark where you get that little twilight, and sat there, listened to the birds. I have a peanut tree. I have a tree that I have a little thing of peanuts that is attached to the tree. The squirrels come down, get the peanuts. It really kind of makes my mind in a right mood. And I know I only have 30 or 40 minutes to do this from the time that I start. And the more time I give myself in the morning, the more time I can enjoy that. I drink my coffee, go do that, water my little things, listen to some music, and I felt great. And then I jump in here, and here I am talking to you. So I already had my mindset going in a positive direction. Now, what could I have done different to make my water the grass? That's what I did. I watered the grass. No, I did that yesterday morning, but I did water the plants. I can tell you, what could I do to make my morning even better? Well, like the backdrop you have today, as you can tell, I'm on a green screen. In case you didn't know, RDAP Dan uses a green screen. I don't have an amazing background every time. I do have some real backgrounds. Well, actually, let's go off beat here for a minute, because I do that my best. Here, we'll go to virtual backgrounds. This actually is a real background. Well, two of these are real backgrounds. So that's a real background that I took in a different room that I just like. So I put it on my green screen. And then I have one more if it's on this one. Oh, yeah. And that's a real background. That's it's actually in this room on the other wall. I redid it. But for this morning, it's kind of a coffee morning. So we're going to go with that. What do you guys think? This one or this one? I'll go with the coffee. And if you guys have any really cool backgrounds, or maybe we can create some kind of a contest and you want to submit a background that you think I would like, throw me the picture and we'll put it up and get a vote on it. All right, let's see. We got some messages here. Mark Fisher, good to see you again. 2015, my goodness. When I first found you in 2015, my wife was going away for 13 months. She is getting off probation in July. It's been a tough few years. Thanks for all the info. That's Mark just went from the past through the present into the future of transition. And as you can see, that's pretty much the segue right there. This is before prison, and now it's almost done. Just like that. Now, granted, 13 months, to some of you go, I wish I was only getting 13 months. But we just showed you how on a 60-month sentence, you can end up serving, what did we say? I forgot, but it was like 15 months or 18 months, something like that on a 60-month sentence. On a 13-month sentence, you're not going to shave that much time off. You with half good time and halfway house. Mark, what did your wife actually serve in prison? Just so I can give an example here on a 13-month sentence. And while we're waiting for Marky Mark, that's why your parents named you Mark Fisher after Marky Mark, unless you're older than Marky Mark. Who knows? Geo came out of rehab with coffee addiction as I sip on my espresso Starbucks. Hey, there's addictions and you got to pick and choose your poison, right? I'm sure your coffee addiction might be better than whatever addiction you had prior. I hope anyway. I hope. And feel free to share or don't share. And Geo likes to water the grass. Yeah. So the point is finding stuff that is going to give you a positive vibe in the morning. And I know some of you are going, oh, bullshit. None of that works. Affirmations don't work. Tony Robbins is a joke. Les Brown, joke. I'll tell you, it's not. Now, it can be if you're looking for the negatives in it, but if you're looking for the positives in it, you will find them. Almost every consultation we have, I can always tell the ones that are going to go south real fast because, and unfortunately, it's usually like the much younger people. Like I have some individuals that call up for, usually it'll be like the mother or the father will call me first. And they'll be like, hey, my son is going to go to prison. Well, how old is your son? 18, he might be 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I would say 25 and below. And we've had some that are involved in the attack on the Capitol that are looking at, some time, not a lot of time. And they're just so stuck. They're so stuck in it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, okay, is it not fair? Okay, let's go with it's not fair. That doesn't change the reality of, okay, so by saying it's not fair doesn't make it go away. So what are we going to do to mitigate this? And at some point during a conversation, I can't just sit there and go, well, yeah, it's like, okay, it's not fair. Life's not fucking fair. Many things will happen that aren't fair. But just like you, the person, the individuals that stormed the Capitol, I have probably the same views that many of you have, when it comes to that. My view, I've been pretty open about my political view. But the difference is I rioted from my couch yelling at the TV. I didn't show up and create an act of aggression. And I know some of you weren't aggressive, and I've seen some real finicky charges where it's like holding a picket sign and it bumped an officer and you got an assault charge. I get it. It's low blow, but you put yourself in that heated situation. And there were people trapped inside the Capitol, right? There was people in the Capitol that were behind doors. I'm not talking about politicians and whatnot, just people that worked there that were with, armed security pointing guns at the door in case somebody broke through. And whether or not these people were really fearing for their lives or they weren't, they sure are claiming they were fearing for their lives, right? So it looks horrible. It looks like these people's, you got all these individuals that are now having PTSD and it's a situation that a lot of defendants put themselves in by showing up. That's why I won't go to a protest. I would have to be so passionate about a protest, but overturning elections and ballots and stuff like that, that's just the way the fucking world works. It's slimy. It's yuck. Each side's got good and bad to it. There's never going to be a perfect scenario. Everybody's never going to just agree with one view. So I choose not to engage, at least not in that way. I have other ways of engaging. I cast my vote. I vote for the under parties. I vote for local. I vote, I pay attention to who's in the city. The little things that you have the ability to voice your opinion. I come out here and I share with what we can do with prison reform. In my views on prison reform are different than a lot of other people's. I'm not just here to kick the shit out of the government and kick the shit out of the BOP and talk about all the bad things that they're doing, because yes, but that mountain to conquer is so vast that you have to really chip away at it and kind of do what you can do throughout the process. You can't just go for the gusto and if nothing happens, get mad about it. We've got clients that maybe can qualify for some compassionate release. We have, what can we do today that's going to make tomorrow better? And by making tomorrow better, not thinking I'm going to make next year better, by, indirectly working on tomorrow and then tomorrow and then tomorrow, next year is going to become better automatically because I'm taking small chips, taking small swings, and I'm looking for the small fish. I'm not trying to go out there and catch the big fish on every cast. Need prison reform, especially for lower. Okay, so like what Mark Fisher just said, true statement. Where's the blueprint to that? We need a car to go faster. Okay, go out and build the car. Show me which parts you're going to use to make it faster, how they're going to apply, how we can get others on board. So prison reform, what Mark said, and I'm not bashing you, Mark. I'm just using it as an example that yes, and it's an obvious statement, prison reform for low-level crimes, but to get that And it is happening. It really is. We look at the First Step Act, Second Chance Act. We had the 2-point drug, the 2-point level reduction for nonviolent drug offenders. Was it 2014? You had people in there for life for marijuana, and the 2 levels. So prison reform 100% is happening. Is it happening at the speed that we would all like? It never will. It will never happen at the pace that we want, because many of us are focused on being angry, and we're not focusing on, well, what has happened? Who have they released? What new policies are in place? And if you go online and just Google, prison reform policies in effect, you'll see them. So it is happening, but dum-dums are always going to commit crimes, including myself. I was a dum-dum for what I did. Did I think I could go to prison for it? No. But did I think about it? No. Did I focus on the consequences? No. Did I think working at a doctor's office, when I first processed the thought of not having any medical experience, taking a job at a doctor's office, I was blinded in my own personal journey. I was blinded by a little bit of a lot of the greed on the money potentially to be made. And it just, it didn't work out. But it kind of spit some lemons out on the other side, and I found a little juicer and I made some lemonade with it. And here we are, because of the shit I went through. I'm now sharing, my stories with you guys, and being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is way harder than people give credit to. To be vulnerable, to be open, to be honest, to be transparent, to be able to admit when you're wrong, or to be able to take somebody else's viewpoint and digest it and not just argue to argue. That's really the problem, is nobody likes to be wrong. Nobody wants to be challenged. And the minute you challenge somebody, they get up in their feelings. And I am not a believer of giving 2 Fs about your feelings. That's probably my biggest fight with the world that we're in today, is everybody gets offended. And it's like you go to Facebook jail for offending somebody. Your feelings really shouldn't matter to me. Now, am I intending to hurt your feelings? That's different. If I have malintent in my heart, okay. But if I'm saying what I believe is real and it challenges you, I don't believe that a man should be able to transgender to or identify as a female in order to put himself into women's sports. We saw the swimmer, the male swimmer, who sucked as a swimmer. Well, he sucked in the rankings, then transferred over to a woman, identifying as a woman, and entered the women's competitions and smoked everybody. To me, I should be able to say that's effing dumb. And it doesn't make any sense, because what happens, when LeBron James is like, hey, I'm going to go become a female. I mean, we've got some things that, and maybe some of you disagree with me. That's okay. And I'm not here to tell you that I'm right or you're wrong. I'm here to tell you that it just does not compute. Could you imagine 20 years ago, if you were to see it? Imagine if you went 20 years ago or 50 years ago, you jumped forward in the future, you hopped in a time machine, and you popped out until 2022, and the headline is, man gives birth to baby. You'd be like, oh my God, that's impossible. How do they do that? And then now being here, really, it's a female that identifies as a man, but because they identify as a man, the headline says first male to give birth to a baby. It's it's kind of weird, the world we live in right now. I'm glad my kids are older. That's all I can say. How many people did I piss off with these statements? That's the point, is people get offended by your views. Don't share your views out in public, because you'll be condemned. You'll be blacklisted off the world. You got to go live in a bubble. Yeah. AK, what's going on? What's up, bro? AK. Just reading some messages here. But yeah, so finding a way to be positive and not engage in all of these, online attacks and fighting with everybody. You see all of the, it's just, there's negativities everywhere. Find something to get positive about. Turn off your phone. Don't go on Facebook and go, oh my God, this person said this. I got to comment and tell them how dumb they are, or, make a nasty remark. because that nasty remark is probably coming from something in your center that is out of alignment. So go see the spiritual chiropractor and get your chakras realigned, because it sounds hokey pokey, guys, but I'm telling you what's worked for me. What's worked for me is, I can see Shelly outside trying to, I wish I could turn the camera right now. She's on her tippy toes with a peanut in her hand, stretching up to the tree, trying to get the squirrel to come down. She wants to feed the squirrel by hand so bad. Oh, Shelly, trying to feed the squirrels. And she'll succeed. By some point within the next 30 days, she's going to be sitting on the porch and the squirrels are going to come up and take peanuts out of her hand, and she will get bit and she won't care. But yeah. BJ, what's up, BJ? BJ was my old neighbor where I lived in Palm Beach. That's actually, look at your mohawk, BJ. BJ's got a YouTube channel. He's a cook. He's a musician. Cool dude. Got some cool little kids. You'd always see BJ rolling around the building. The building we lived in kind of looked like a little hotel. And you'd always see BJ and his kids with little like razor scooters zipping through the hallway. And he's always going, hey, come here, get back here. Go before you run somebody over. But yeah, BJ, you're a good dad, BJ. Good father you are. Glad to see it. But yeah, I've been good. Loving Melbourne. It's the different, a little bit slower pace up here. Got a house, got some land, and it's a little slower. So that's what I needed. But guys, I don't know what you're going to do today. I don't know what's on your agenda, but whatever it is, find 20 minutes for yourself, whether it's right now, whether it's after this video. Do something to be positive. If your dishes are in the sink, go do them. If you didn't make your bed yet this morning, go do it. If you haven't done your laundry, go do it. If you got clothes piled up somewhere, go fold them, put them away. If they're not clean, wash them first. Don't just put away dirty clothes, because that's gross. But yeah, those little things. And then look, there's much bigger things you can be doing too. But there's so many of us as we're going through our journey, we'll talk about how I want to help people. I want to give back. Meanwhile, your own life, whether it be personal, physical, health, mindset, it's in disarray, and you're in no position to offer anything to anybody else until you align your own shit. And I've been there a million times. I'm sure I'll hit that spot again where I need to recalibrate. It happens, guys. You got to sometimes take some time for yourself and realize that maybe you're swimming in too deep of water and you need to go back to the little end or put on your swimmies and kind of re-educate yourself. But it's pretty simple. Keep your values, like Mark said, and find out what that means to you. When Mark says keep your values, ask yourself, what are your values and what does it mean? And how do you practice that in a day-to-day basis? And what are you doing that is going against what you think your values are? If your values are be nice, courteous, don't say mean things, don't retaliate out of anger. If some of those are your values, check yourself, guys. Check yourself. What are you responding to on Facebook? What kind of negative rambling behind? What kind of gossip are you talking about? Oh, so-and-so did this. Can you believe they did this? Can you believe they're dating her? Oh my God. Oh my God. It's like soap opera, reality TV. Turn that shit off, guys. If you hear somebody going, oh man, can you believe BJ? Why don't we bring BJ over here if we're going to discuss BJ? Cut out the gossip. Cut out the negative attitudes, because if you say these are your values, but your actions speak differently, we call that your audio and your video is on a mismatch. When you're watching a video and it's like, my name is Dan. You see the lips moving, but nothing's coming out when everything's out of sync. You need to be in sync, guys. You got to go fix your audio and fix your video so it syncs together. Then you can start working on the color and the lightings and the appearance. But once you got the basics down, then you can go getting into what you're going to do next to maximize it and to enhance the experience. You can't enhance a piece of poop, right? You can't do it. You can't make a piece of poop look pretty. Like, wow, that's a pretty piece of poop, but it's still poop at the end of the day. So create something good for yourself. If your core values are important to you, write down what they are, and then really challenge yourself and say, what am I doing to really build these values? Or am I going the opposite direction sometimes? And it's okay if you are. It's okay if you're going in the opposite directions. The important thing is to be aware of that, to identify it, and to start making corrective measures. You still might have some days where you slip back. I do it all the time. I catch myself on Facebook, trolling people because it's easy. But what am I doing it for? Not accomplishing anything, wasting my time, not getting anything positive. Sure as hell not getting ready to go to federal prison, right? You're not working on your narratives, you're not working on your reference letters, you're not working on your family growth, you're not working on communication with your wife and your kids if you're sitting there in a negative mind space. So put yourself, Mark Fisher, had to bring up the vending machine story. I still have PTSD over vending machines. When I see a vending machine, I kind of like get chills and my spine rattles a little bit. I'm just kidding. The vending machine story. Maybe we should do story time on the vending machine someday. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to try to do these. Now that I'm in a different location, a little slower pace, I think I'm going to be back tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock because I've been getting up earlier and earlier every day. So might as well come on here and join with you guys. So if you like these morning coffee with RDAP Dan videos, we'll do these every day because they're kind of fun. But guys, if you haven't done so, take a peek over at RDAP Dan's website. And if you're interested in, when you go to my website, federalprisontime.com, there's a link in the description of the video. You're going to see a little start here button just like this. You're going to click on it and it's going to bring you to the start here page where you're going to put in some basic information. This is where you create your consultation, guys. If you want a free consultation, you just do that. And I'm posting the link in the live chat right now as well. It's also in the description of the video. There it is. You'll fill that out. The website also is useful because it has your RDAP FAQs. If you have questions about RDAP, you can go in here and figure out what you need about RDAP. This might answer a lot of your questions if you don't want to book a paid, because the consultation for RDAP is a paid consultation. There's a separate link for that in the description. But if you think you just need some basic Q&A for that, you could probably get it right off of here. Some of our services, if you want to go to our services page, we have sentence reduction assistance, pre-sentence interview, mindset and success coaching, family support for loved ones. And speaking of family support for loved ones, we have a Facebook page. It is White Collar Prison Wives Support Group. Now, even though it's called that, just because I needed a catchy name to grab attention, it's for anybody that is going through the process, whether you're getting ready to go to prison, you're out of prison, you've got a loved one in prison. This is a great support group that is, it's a closed group. It's not a paid group. It's free, but it's private because we don't want people going in here and just causing problems. I just posted a link to the description of that. And, oh yeah, see, there's some content. There's me out in the backyard, and there's my cat doing the crip walk on the fence. Look at that cat. It's a Snoop Dogg of a cat right there, guys. You got to love it. And yeah, so that's about all I have this morning. And don't forget, don't leave yet, because we're getting ready to play your dodo of the day. Other than that, I love you guys. I thank you for joining this journey with me, and we'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Coffee with RDAP Dan, and we'll probably have another fun little video for you to show. So here we go. We're going to play the dodo. Dodo's going to take us out. When that's finished, I will see you guys. I will not be back, so don't miss this phase too much. I hope you enjoyed your coffee. I sure enjoyed mine. I used to get the worst comments on my YouTube channel the way I slurped coffee in the microphone. I guess people hate it when I. It's like nails on a chalkboard, right? So many of you are like, oh, God, asshole, got him. All right, so here we go, the dodo. Guys, RDAP Dan, Federal Prison Time Consulting, people helping people, communities method, one day at a time. Let's go to the dodo.
Mom, I found this baby bird.
Little guy.
And I thought in my heart, no, she cannot die. To my mom, I tell her, Mom, I found this baby bird.
Little guy.
And I thought in my heart, no, she cannot die. She was born to live, have a life, have a family.
We made the call and said, look, I don't think we're going to be able to get it back to its parents. So then we put Peter in the incubator.
I would feed her all day, every single day.
Come here, guys. Today I think he's about 5 or 6 days old now. So pretty soon he's going to be able to open his eyes, but I know he's just too little.
When she started opening her eyes, first person she saw was me.
He's old enough now to open his eyes, see?
Look. He likes his chin to be rubbed. Hey, Peter. Hello. You hungry? Look how much he's grown.
So he's 13 days old now, and look at all his feathers. And his eyes are open, everything. He's so cool and gorgeous. It's our little baby magpie.
And look at him, how he's getting all his feathers
Yeah,
now.
he's so big.
Look at his wings. Turn him around. So this is day, 14?
Yeah.
We took her out of the incubator and we put her in a big tub because she was too big.
And then for a couple of weeks, she was in there learning how to move around.
It's got a little window so we can look out outside and see what soon is going to be living it. But he's too young for that just yet. So right now we're trying to teach him how to walk. Peter, come on. You hungry? You hungry? Peter, come on. Yeah.
She's very curious. And loving. I let her have a snooze on my neck.
So we're just listening to noises of magpies so he can learn how to make photos of himself about magpies.
Almost every time I walk over, she flips over for a belly scratch or a tickle.
Tickle. And
We introduce her to outside.
Look at him.
I put worms in front of her. She started learning how to find worms on her arm. And then she started learning how to fly. She jumped off on my hands and she actually flew.
I think another month when her feathers are stronger.
She's going to be ready to go into the wild. That's where she belongs.
The hope is that Peter will be strong enough to survive and she will go out and find her own family.
Whenever she wants to go into the wild, she can go. She makes that decision.
She honestly has brought so much joy to the family. She might fly away any day. Oh, we don't know.
every day that she
But-
goes my way.
As long as she knows she always has a home here.
There's a strong bond, unlike anything in this world, between me and living things. I feel great that I saved Peter. She's saved my life a lot, and I really appreciate her. If I just left her out there, she wouldn't have changed my life. When she wants to go into the world, she's probably going to tell her kids that there's a boy named Ruben that I want you guys to visit.